Hello everyone. Welcome to MRU E-Learning powered by Mallarity University. I am Dr. Sunita Rikhari, Associate Professor in CSC, Mallarity University. Today, discuss the basics of ReactJS. These are the topics I'm going to cover. I'll give you a brief introduction about the ReactJS. Then I will discuss the virtual DOM concept of React. Then ReactJS installation, ReactJS components. The prerequisites needed for learning React are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. What is React? React is a JavaScript library used for building user interfaces. User interface in the sense, whenever we open any app or website, whatever we see on the device screen, that we call as the user interface. In other words, we can also call it as the front end. So basically, the ReactJS is used for developing the front end part of the web page or the application. Who developed ReactJS? Originally, it was created by Jordan Walk, a software engineer at Facebook. He developed the initial prototype in 2011, and later it was released to the public in May 2013. What is the need for ReactJS? Actually, this ReactJS is used for building fast and responsive user interfaces. Now, what is the need for building this faster and user-responsive web pages? Let me explain you with the help of this example. This is how our Facebook web page appears like. Suppose a user has posted some content on the web page, and he has got around 10 likes. Now, a friend of the user has liked the post. Now, the likes are being updated. The updated likes cannot be seen by the user unless and until the page gets reloaded. Similarly, if the user receives a friend's request, again, the new friend's request received by the user cannot be seen unless and until the page gets reloaded. So here, to overcome the issue of overloading the page again and again to see the updates is avoided by using React. So Jordan Walk developed the ReactJS so that suppose if a new update has been received, just like the friend request, a new friend request received, only that component which is related to the friend request update will be changed and the rest of the components will remain same. Because we are avoiding the concept of overloading the entire page and we are loading only that component of the page which has been changed, we are going to reduce the time and hence the app becomes faster. So how exactly this React is going to avoid this overloading concept and speed up the web page? Actually, it uses the virtual DOM concept. So first of all, in order to understand the virtual DOM concept, let me explain what a DOM is actually. The DOM refers to Document Object Model. It is a structured representation of the web page that allows developers to access, modify, and control the content and structure using JavaScript. This is the basic definition. Let me explain the DOM with the help of this example. Suppose this is the code we have used for designing our web page. It is a simple code. It is having an HTML tag, and this entire HTML page is divided into two parts. This is one part and this is the second part. So this HTML, under HTML, we have two parts. One is the head, the other one is body. And again, inside the head tag, we have the title. So the title is included here. And inside the body tag, we have the div tag. And again, inside the div tag, we have these three tags. Under UL, we have li tag. If you observe this, the code which we have written for designing the web page is converted into a tree-like structure. We are calling it as the DOM. The need for this tree-like structure is to access the individual elements of HTML tags so that they can be accessed and modified. Now, what this virtual DOM is? This virtual DOM is the virtual representation of the actual DOM. Now, what is the need to have a virtual DOM when we have the real? Here, in the virtual DOM, whenever any changes are necessary, like I have told you the example, if a new user request has come, the page has to be reloaded again. That means entire DOM structure has to be reloaded again. But in the if we use virtual DOM in the place of the actual DOM, suppose this content, earlier we have inserted some text in the p tag. Now we wanted to change the text color of the p tag, and the new update is only with the p tag. The rest of the components are same. We no need to do any changes to the, only this part of the DOM needs to be changed. So what the virtual DOM does is, it will update this part of the code or this element it is going to update, and then the updated version will be sent to the DOM. So how it is done? When the current state in DOM is changed, ReactJS updates the virtual DOM about the changes. The virtual DOM keeps track of the changes and the DOM elements involved. The virtual DOM then checks the difference between the current DOM and the virtual DOM for changes in component states. Once the changes are tracked, only the changed elements are updated in the actual DOM. The rest of the elements where the changes are not there, those will remain as it is. That's way the speed of the app increases. That is the reason most of the social networking sites which are currently available, like Facebook, Instagram, and even WhatsApp, are designed using ReactJS for its faster applications. Now we'll move on to the next topic, that is React installation. So to use the React, we need to install the React onto our PC first. So there are different methods of React installation. React installation using CRA, that is the first method. Actually, this is the old method which is slower and deprecated but still used in old projects. We need to learn this React installation using the CRA method, because if you work in a company and that company has designed some apps using the older version, if any updates are there, you need to know this older method to do changes to the existing app which was built using the older method. That is the reason we must know the installation using CRA as well. Next, you can also do the installation using Vite. Vite is a bundler actually which will help us to create the React. The next one is Next.js, powerful routing concepts and server components, and it is used for modern production apps. And the next one is installation using CDN. CDN refer to Content Delivery Network. It is used for learning purpose and for small demos you can use, but for real applications, for developing real applications, this will not be useful. So here today I'll be discussing installation using CRA and installation using Vite. React installation using CRA needs Node.js to be installed first. How to install this Node.js? Open Google and type Node.js. So this, and click on the download. Now here you'll be seeing this Windows installer. So click on the Windows installer.exe file generated and double click on the .exe file, the Node.js gets downloaded. Next, to check whether the Node.js is properly downloaded or not, open the command prompt and type node. If the current version of the node which has been installed will be displayed on your command prompt, your Node.js is perfectly installed onto your PC. Once you are ready with the Node.js, install the Visual Studio Code. The Visual Studio Code is a source code editor where you can write your code, you can edit your code. Once you have the Visual Studio Code installed and the Node.js installed, the next command used is you open the command prompt and type npm create React app and then give some name to the app. So here the name I have given is my app. Once you enter this command and run this command, some files it will install, and finally you will be seeing this happy hacking. That means your ReactJS is installed. So what exactly this command will do is, it will create a folder with the name you have given. The name is my app. It is the name I have given. You can give any name of your choice. Once it is created, inside this folder, you will be viewing several folders and files which are needed for building an actual application. Now, once you are ready with your default app, which is generated by the React, to check the default output or default web page which is created by this default app, you need to run the command npm start. So when you run this command npm start, automatically a web page, a default web page which is created by the React, you're going to observe at the local host address 3000. This is a default page which is generated by the React. It has put some logo here, then some text, and this is the hyperlink. Now, if you want to change this content, you can replace the existing code which is generated, and you can put your own code there and you can design your own app accordingly. Now let us understand the installation using Vite. So here also the basic requirement is, first you need to install the Node.js, then install the Visual Studio Code, and once the Visual Studio Code and the Node are installed, open your command prompt and type this command: npm create vite @latest. So this latest, install the latest React version, and my app is the name I've given to this app. Now, once you run this command, it will ask you to click on Y for proceeding and N for no. So you type Y and hit the enter button. Now it will ask you to select the frame. So several frameworks will be listed there, because we are concentrating on React. Select the React. Then it will ask you to select the variant, because I told you React is a JavaScript library. So the variant which needs to be selected is JavaScript. Several other variants will also be displayed there, like TypeScript and all. So you select the JavaScript. Now use roll down Vite. It is experimental actually. So at present we don't need this. So you select no. Then it will ask install npm and start now. You select yes and proceed. Now once you do that, it is going to create a default app, and it will generate a web page at this localhost address 5173. So this is what you're going to observe at the localhost address. So this is the default content which is getting displayed on the localhost address. You can put your own content here. So once the React generates a default app, what contents are there in the React app, which if you want to see, you open the Visual Studio and then go to folder and select the folder created by the app. What is the name we have given? We have given my app as the name to our React folder. So inside this folder, you'll be seeing several folders again and few files. So this symbol represents the folder. This represents the folder. So we have 3 folders here and then few files. Now inside this folder, the src folder is the most important folder where exactly your UI structure would be. And inside the src folder, you'll be having app.css, and then we have app.jsx, index.css, few files you'll be finding there. And out of this app.jsx is the important folder where we will be writing our code and executing our code, so that the desired content which you want to put on the web page can be seen. Now, once you have everything ready, you have written your code and you have applied your own CSS styles and all, have to run this code. Now, click on these three dots and select the terminal, and inside the terminal, select new terminal, and the terminal gets displayed below your code like this. Now, once you see this path, you type this command to run your code, npm run dev. So, the program which you have written in React will be executed, and you're going to see the web page you have designed at this localhost address. You copy this path and put on any browser, you will be seeing the web page you have designed. Now let us understand the folder structure. It is having, this is our folder structure, node modules, public, src. So these are the things we have. Let us try to understand the folder structure. The node modules. Node modules contains all the dependencies installed via npm. npm refer to node package manager. Here, we are going to never edit this manually. We don't we will not put anything in this node modules. And then comes the public folder. Here, we can insert images, icons, logos, and some manifest files which are needed for building your app and which doesn't change during building the app. And then we have the most important folder, that is the src folder, where all the React code goes. And in this, you are going to find the assets. Just like public folder, this assets folder is also used for saving images, SVG files, fonts, videos, etc. And then we have the app.jsx. I told you, this is the main component of our React app where exactly we will be writing our code. It contains the UI structure. Whatever you put in this app.jx file, that will be reflected on your web page. Then app.css file. So if you want to apply any styles to the content which you are putting, you put those respective CSS styles related to this app.jx in app.css files. So suppose I have written a h1 tag and I have written some text inside the h1 tag. So if you want to apply some style to this text, so that style you mention in the app.css file. Main.jx file, this is the entry point of the React app. It connects React with HTML elements using ReactDOM.create root. And then only one in HTML file you will be finding here, that is the index.html file. And we will be importing whatever we have written in the app.jx file into this HTML file through this tag, through this div tag and the ID root. So the React injects the entire UI into this div tag. And package.json file, it contains the project name, the version, the scripts, and the dependencies, like extra dependencies if you are installing manually, like the bootstrap. If you want to apply the styles using the bootstrap, you can install that dependency into your React app. Once you install the bootstrap dependency, you can find that dependency file in the package.json file. And then we have Vite.config.js file, contains Vite configurations such as plugins, aliases, and service settings, and README file, the basic instructions generated by the Vite you're going to find here. And now, which language we use for writing the code in ReactJS? We'll be using JSX. Here, JSX refer to JavaScript Extensible Markup Language. Okay, it is this extensible markup language, XML. This XML is similar to HTML, hypertext markup language only. So here we can understand this JSX as the combination of the HTML and the JavaScript. Let me help you to understand with the help of an example here. You see here, this is the HTML tag. H1 we are H1 tag, and we are inserting some text in the H1 tag, hello world. So this is our HTML code. Now, if you observe this, we are storing this in a variable called element, const element. Const is the keyword we use for defining an element, for defining a variable inside the JavaScript. So now we are storing this H tag and its content in a variable. This is something weird, right? We are saying that this is the HTML tag and we are storing something in it. This is what our JSX is about. It is a combination of both HTML and the JavaScript. Now, once we have a variable which stores some data like this, if you want to access this variable data or value inside your HTML tag, we need to use these curly braces. This name you insert in the curly braces. So hello, the value which is stored in this variable is John. So you will be seeing hello John in the output. Now, what are the components where exactly we'll be writing our code, and which format we need to use for writing the code? So React offers two types of components, functional component and class component. Functional, actually it is the usual practice of naming the components, the first letter of the component with a uppercase alphabet. So a functional component is also known as stateless component. It will not have any state in it. And what is a state, and what are these probs you are going to learn in the next coming lectures. But as of now, you just remember that functional component is also called a stateless component. Now, why we need these components? We need these components to put our code in it. And each component will have its own default syntax, and we need to follow that syntax to put our existing code. So this is the syntax for the functional component, and where exactly we'll be inserting this functional component inside the app.jx file. So the first statement would be the import statement, import React from React. And because it is functional component, we'll be defining a function. And to define the function, we use the keyword function itself, just like the JavaScript. And then here, welcome is the name I have given to this function. You can give any name of your choice here, and followed by the pair of parentheses here. Now, after this, open the curly braces and put the return statement, and inside the return statement, you insert all of your tags or all of your HTML content or all that content which you want to see on the web page. And once it is done, you need to export this function. Export to default, it is the keyword of the JSX, and here you put the name you have mentioned here. The name I have given to this function is welcome. The same name you put here. So now we have written this particular code in the app.jsx file. Now, I told you how to run this code. Go to terminal, then click on new terminal, and then in the path you type npm space run space dev. So the program gets executed, and where you're going to see the output, you're going to see the output at the localhost address 5174. So you paste that path in any of the browser, and you're going to see whatever you have inserted in your code. This is about the functional component. And then we have the class component. The difference between the functional component and the class component is functional component is a stateless component, whereas class component is a stateful component. Inside the class component, you will be having the state. You can update or you can do any changes to the state. Again, I told you we are going to learn about the state and props in the next coming lectures. And this is the syntax for defining a class component. First, you'll be inserting an import statement, import React, open the curly braces and write component, where here C is capital letter. And because this JSX is case sensitive, you need to take care of this lowercase letters and the uppercase letters. Once this import statement is included, the next thing is to define our class component. We have used the function keyword for defining the function component. In the same manner, we'll be using the keyword class for defining the class component. And after putting this keyword, we have to give some name to this class component. The name I have given is mycomp. You can give any name of your choice. And next, this is the syntax, extends component that you need to write as it is. Open the curly braces, and this render function unit, inside this render function only, you will be putting your return statement for the class component. This render method you will not need for the functional component, and for the class component, inside the render function only, you will be putting your return statements. And inside the return, you know what statements you can include, all that information which you want to display on your web page, that you include in the return statement, and finally you export it back. In the same manner as we have done with the functional component. Export default and the name of the component. The name of the component which I have given is mycomp. So the same name you put here. And now how to execute it? In the same way, go to the terminal, click on new terminal, and then type npm run dev command. So the program gets executed, and you're going to see only one statement, one line of text I have included here in the program. So that line of text will appear at the localhost address 5174. Now, if I want to include more than one line of text on my web page, of course you can do it. You include the multiple tags inside the div tag, and you can run this code. So here I have used the class component for putting some text on the web page, and these are the 3 lines of text which I wanted to include here. And all these 3 tags, again I have inserted inside the div tag, and finally I have exported the class. The name of the class which I have given is app here, where A is capital. The same name you need to put here and execute this. You are going to find these 3 lines of text on your web page. So this render method is really important in React JavaScript. It is a technique that updates the user screen with the relevant information when a component state or element properties change. So this render method is not a necessary in functional component. This render method is necessary only in the class component. So the 3 lines of text you can see on the output web page or output screen you can see here. So that's all for today's session. Thanks so much for listening.